Good morning, everyone. After taking up the different approaches that has been taken up under different schools, today we'll be discussing the approach as taken under sociological school in order to understand the concept of law. The focus of the lecture shall remain on the concept as given by Roscoe. Talking about the term sociology, it is a term that was used by Auguste Comte for the first time, where he defined the term sociology as a positive science of social facts. However, when we talk about the concept of sociology of law and sociological jurisprudence, there is a difference between the two aspects. Where, on one hand, sociological jurisprudence studies law, but the study of law is done in relation with the society and the impact that law has on the society. Whereas, when we talk about sociology of law, it is primarily the study of society and give less importance to the study of law. Talking about sociological jurisprudence, it is a school of thought that developed in 20th century. This school advocates that law and society are related to each other. It considers law as a social phenomena and examines law in relation to the society. This is because the school argues that law has major impact on the development or growth working of the society. Hence, it is essential to study the relationship between law and society and the impact that law will have on the society if implemented. For the purpose of our lecture, we shall take up the approach of law under sociological school as taken by Roscoe, who was a major proponent of this school who belonged to United States of America and was also a noted American sociological jurist of 20th century. Roscoe propagated the theory of social engineering and the balancing of social interest. When he was talking about the social engineering, he means to say that it is required that the interests that are existing in the society must be balanced in order to meet the requirements and need of all the members of the society. Pound also emphasized on the roles that are played by advocates in the management of the society. He equated advocates as engineers who are taking care of the social norms that are existing in the society. However, talking about law, Roscoe believed that law is the body of knowledge and experience, with the aid of which a large part of social engineering is carried on. It is more than a body of rules. It has rules and principles, conceptions and standards that are required for the conduct and for decision making. For Pound, it also includes doctrines, professional thoughts, and professional rules of art by which the precepts of conduct and decisions are applied and developed in a given effect. For the purpose of our lecture, we shall take up how Roscoe Pound has divided the interests that exist in the society. For Pound, there are the interests that exist in a given society can be divided in three types: individual interest, public or state interest, and social interest. Pound has categorized the individual interest in three categories. The first relates to the interest of personality, second is interest in domestic relations, and third, interest of substance. In interest of personality, he has included five aspects. First, the interest of a person with respect to the physical appearance of a person. Second is freedom of will. Third, honor and reputation. Fourth, privacy. Fifth, belief and opinion. Here, the term interest has been referred to as, or one can say that it has been correlated with the rights that an individual must have in order to sustain in the society. With personality interest, as stated by Roscoe Pound, he means that an individual must have certain interest that should be protected in the society. First is that relating to, like for example, relating to freedom of will. The honor and reputation must also be protected. A person should have right to privacy. The person should have right to express the beliefs and opinion, and also to take care of his physical being. These rights have been classified as interest that a person must have in a society under the category of personality interest. Second category of interest, that individual interest that Roscoe Pound is talking about, are domestic relations. However, while talking about those domestic relationships, it has been made clear by Roscoe Pound that there is a requirement to make a distinction between the interest of individuals in domestic relationships and that of the society in such institution. Individual interest with respect to the domestic relations for Roscoe Pound include relationships such as that of parents and children, relationship of husband and wife, and other marital interests that are involved in case of domestic relationships that an individual have as an individual interest under the approach as taken up by Roscoe Pound. Third is interest of substance. This interest include examples such as interest of property, interest in succession and testamentary disposition, freedom of industries and contract, any kind of advantages that a person is entitled to, advantages relationships with other, freedom to associate with others, any kind of continuity in employment that a person is entitled to. These are certain interests that are considered as individual interest by Roscoe Pound. Another category of interest is the public interest. Public interest, according to Roscoe Pound, are the claims or demands or desires asserted by individuals involved in or looked at from the standpoint of political life in politically organized society. They are asserted in title of that organization. It is convenient to treat them as claim of politically organized society thought of a legal entity. The main public interest that have been given by Roscoe Pound are interest of state as a jurist person. This mainly includes interest of state as a jurist person, that is, as a protection. Second, claim of the politically organized society as a corporation to property acquired and held for corporate purposes. Second interest that is included under public interest by Roscoe Pound is the interest of the state as guardian of social interest. That includes superintendence and administration of trust, charitable endowments, protection of natural environment, territorial waters, regulation of public employment, and so on, to make use of things which are open to public. This interest seems to overlap with social interest in many aspects. Now, the third aspect, the interest that has been taken up by Roscoe Pound is social interest. Under social interest, for Pound, social interest are claims or demands or desires, even some of the foregoing in other aspects, thought of in terms of social life and generalized as claims of the social groups. They are the claims that are required for the functioning of the society, the wider demands or desires that are required in the social life of a civilized society. Social interests are said to include social interest in general security. This embraces those branches of the law which relate to general safety, general health, peace, and order, security of acquisition, and security of transactions. Second is the social interest in security of social institutions. In this, it comprises of domestic institutions, religious institutions, political institutions, and economic institutions. Third type of social interest is the social interest in general morals that covers variety of laws, like for example dealing with prostitution, drunkenness, and gambling. The fourth is the interest in conservation of social resources, and this mainly covers conservation of social resources and protection, training of dependents and defectives, like for example that is conservation of human resources, protective and education of dependents and defectives, reformation of delinquents, protection of economically dependents. All these is included in the conservation of social resources. Next is the social interest in general progress. This has three aspects. First is the economic progress, second is the political and cultural progress. Economic progress covers freedom of use and sale of property, free trade, free industries, and encouragement of inventions by the grant of patents. Political progress covers free speech and free association, free opinion, freedom to critique. Cultural progress includes free science, free letters, encouragement of arts and letters, higher educations, learning, and aesthetics. The next is social interest in individual life. Talking about this, Roscoe Pound mean that every individual to be able to live a human life, the individual should have certain categories of life, that is political life, physical life, cultural life, social and economic life. If these interests are balanced with each other, then we ensure that the law has functioned properly in a given setup. Thus, Roscoe Pound based his theory of social engineering on the assumption that protection of interest is the main subject matter of law, and it is the duty of jurists to make a valuation of these interests in order to satisfy human wants and to strike a balance between stability and social changes. Thus, adopting a functional approach to law, Pound stressed upon the need of study of law in relation to and as a part of the whole process of social control. There are certain criticisms also that has been made against the theory that is given by Pound. The first criticism is with respect to the use of the word engineering, because it has been argued that the word suggests a mechanical application of the principle of social needs. It is used by by Pound metaphorically to indicate the problems which the law has to face, the objectives which it has to fulfill, and the methods which it will adopt for this purpose. But Pound fails to give an ideal scale of values with reference to the concept of interest. Pound theory has another criticism for Pound theory is that there is a shift of center of gravity in legal order from legislation to court judgments. The judiciary has its decisions and therefore cannot really do effective social engineering. Justice can give ad hoc judgments on specific issues that have been raised before them, but they cannot frame a broad plan for restructuring the society. On these bases, the theory given by Roscoe Pound has been criticized by Dias and many other theorists. With this, we end our lecture on sociological school of jurisprudence and the approach of law and understanding of law as given by Roscoe Pound. Thank you.